Hey everybody, welcome back. This one's gonna be a little different, because I have thoughts to share about Penacony, and I wanted to wrap them up in a nice little, I guess, farewell. Not to play too much on the actual ending of Penacony, but I think the last patch for the world has been out long enough, and I think I can safely avoid spoilers. But I will be talking about various bits throughout all of the Penacony arc in Honkai Star Rail. So if you don't want to listen to that, that's fine. But I did stream all of it except for the final 2.3 story, which had the conclusion. The conclusion was just for me. That's how I felt about it. Penacony was so freaking special that I just kind of wanted to savor that for myself, and I also heard that it wasn't that long, so I didn't think that there would be a reason to stream it. And man, did it deliver! I I love Penacony so much, man. It's crazy. So I mean, I have a bias, right? I have a bias about Penacony because I really love classic kind of like vintage Vegas, gilded, glitz, glam, gold, all the G words. Um, I have such an affinity for things like that aesthetically that like as soon as I saw the Penacony world and it was built into some kind of like Tomorrowland-esque Vegas, I knew I was gonna love it, and I did. Uh, so, if you didn't like it, I'm gonna be terribly unrelatable. Um, but I mean, even just from like a design perspective, where they introduced like literal 3D terrain where you can walk up walls and walk on ceilings and integrating puzzles into that as well. It's so good. The world design of Penacony alone is so good, and I don't hate running around in Penacony. Like on the LeFou, I don't like running around. Like I will jump, teleport any chance I get. Um, but when it comes to Penacony, like I genuinely enjoy running from place to place and just looking at all of the environment and scenery around me. That I don't I don't want to get where I'm going faster. I want it to keep going. Um, and I guess the only benefit really to leaving Penacony is that now I think we'll start to have daily missions there eventually. I hope. I'm hoping that happens. Please let that happen. Because I want to keep going back. I mean, they gave us reasons to go back, right? There's like little casino games and stuff you can play. We have the new and improved simulated universe in Penacony. We have our own airship. That's crazy. Like that's not something I expected. It is a classic RPG trope where like, oh, eventually you get like the big uh transportation device, whether it's like a boat or an airship or something along those lines. Um, and we got that, so that's pretty exciting. I particularly loved the one of the ending missions where like you got to run the floor in the hotel, and then even on the airship you got to kind of customize it to make it really yours and not just like the clocky tribute that it kind of was. Um, it's so everything is so personalized with Penacony. Like they really took their time with executing it, I think. And we started off with like this weird kind of mystery where we don't really know why we ran into Acheron, but it was like not the first time we had seen her or something. The whole thing started in a point of redirection and confusion. And then it was just mystery after mystery. And then the climax of everything was insane with Sunday. Like I didn't fully see the twist of Sunday being the bad guy. I kind of thought that he was just caught between worlds that were kind of at odds with each other, but he was actually an antagonist, which was nice. I like being surprised, and even if you go back to like the launch of Penacony, even the special preview where they had like the old time 1940s television broadcast where they were doing, you know, shtick on that. Even that was brilliant. And then renting out that big, I don't know what it is, but this is like a giant globe or ball or something in Vegas, and then advertising the Penacony launch and that. Like, I mean, everything around the launch through end of Penacony, I feel like was near flawless. I don't ever really feel that I don't feel like there was filler, I guess is what I want to say. I don't feel like there was filler. There were parts that were slower. There was a little bit of yapping that happened. But even cutting between that, like with Dr. Ratio and Aventurine, like that whole situation, and going into like the little mini map of Golden Hour where all of the NPCs were like royally messed. That is cool. Like that, those little touches really made Penacony stand out to me. It didn't feel like kind of a cliche story, but it had, you know, kind of classic tropes involved in it, right? And outside of Penacony alone, you got to see some greater world lore with the likes of the Memo Keepers and Black Swan and the Self-Annihilators in the likes of Acheron, and then just the Eons and how they kind of butt heads between the Harmony and Order and all. There was a lot of world building outside of Penacony alone. And Penacony's lore itself, where it was like this prison or something that turned into like this land of festival, is crazy too. There's so much to unpack with Penacony, and I'm not going to do that all here, obviously. But there was so much going on, and yet it always felt like it was on the rails. Like it never, I never felt like the story was deviating, and it always left me wanting more. Even when Penacony ended, I wanted more still. And the differences between like the Golden Hour and then also the Reef, for example, that's like the contrast between the levels of the world is incredible. I really feel like they nailed everything on that, and even characters, really. Like we got broader expansion into the IPC with the likes of Aventurine and Jade. And then Topaz made a reappearance. The Stellaron Hunters, right? Obviously, Sam was a huge introduction. Everybody was excited about that. But then we also got like little war drops that Silverwolf and Sparkle. That was that was not something I expected in relation to Silverwolf basically trying to barter so that Sam would be safer, or I guess technically Firefly would be safer. That, you know, little details like that were pretty very much appreciated, to be candid. And then the character, you know, development design alone. I mean, you had the introduction of Acheron, who was like this universe's May, or even the previous universe's May. Uh, the whole universe felt like it got a lore drop within Penacony, which, when you look at the Penacony story on its own, I think it's fantastic, right? But then when you branch out and you look at the greater aspect that it touched on by bringing all these elements together within the land of festivities, right? It culminated into something so fantastic that I don't know what's gonna happen next with Honkai Star Rail, but I do know that, or at least I'm hoping, rather, that Black Swan is involved. Because, dude, I love the Memo Keepers so much. I need to know more about the Memo Keeper and all of that. But at the end, when Black Swan was suggesting where we go next, I was like, yes. I don't care where. Let's go there. And evidently solving some sort of like energy crisis, or I don't fully remember what the names of the context was, but it's evidently nowhere where anybody from the Nameless had gone before, and it's completely new, uncharted territory. No one really has been able to make it out that far, for fear, I think, of not being able to get back. But evidently, if we go there, then we are able to lay rails anywhere. There's no more concern about not having enough, I guess, resources to get to and from somewhere. I don't know, but it sounds as if it is kind of the next plot hole in introducing what I assume is going to be a Hoyo multiverse, or a Hoyoverse. Not a coincidence, by the way. Like, I feel like this has mainly been their plan all along. And I think Honkai Star Rail is the thing that is going to connect all of that. But man, I loved Penacony so much, and I'm so sad that that it's over. It did not feel nearly long enough, but I know that we'll be back, and I know that there are still reasons to go there, even if it's just for like self-indulgence, you know, to play random little slot games or something along those lines. But I loved my time in Penacony, genuinely. I really did. And I loved all the characters that it brought to us. I loved all the lore that it brought to us. I loved all the puzzles, honestly. I don't know that I really touched on puzzles too much, but man, the puzzles they dropped in this were crazy. Spatial puzzles are always like a personal favorite of mine, but like, dude, oh, they were so good. They were so good. Anyway, I feel as though I got everything I wanted out of Penacony. I don't feel like I wanted anything else. I feel like it fully delivered. And that is a satisfying conclusion, as far as I'm concerned. So, let me know what you thought about Penacony in the comments. I will be interested to read them. And if you disagree, that's fine. You're allowed to have a wrong opinion. I'm just kidding. Well, kind of, yeah. I will disagree with you, but you know, you can, you know, safe space. It's a safe space. Yeah, I loved it, and I hope that you did too. And I'm excited for wherever we go next. Not necessarily back to the low food. I'm not super happy about that. Except for the Nihility Healer. That is a character I am excited about. But whatever new world that we end up going to, especially if it's the one that, you know, Black Swan was suggesting, because it sounds like there could be some good story development there, which is, I'm here for that. So, Anyway, I have rambled long enough. Thank you for watching and or listening. I know this is a little different from the type of video I put out, but I wanted to share some thoughts about Penacony because I loved it so much. All right. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and I will see you in the next one.